welcome to Just Start, Get Visible, your go-to resource of the journey to becoming more visible in a way that feels right for you. And welcome back to yet another episode of Just Start, Get Visible. Of course, it's Jacqueline here, and we are here for yet another exciting episode. And today, I'm excited for real. I know that I always say that I'm excited, but my level of excitement this time is up many, many levels. And it is because today's guest is not brand new to the podcast. This is actually his second time being on the Just Start podcast. But this time, he is in a different phase of life. We're talking about something completely different. And he happens to be my favorite person in the entire world. So with that, Marc Baker, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, my love. I can't believe I made it.
Oh, wow.
On video.
That's crazy.
I know, man. I never thought I'd be able to see the studio.
Okay.
I'm happy. This brings me joy.
So get ready for more of that, y'all. A whole bunch more of that. Okay, so the last time you were on the Just Start podcast, we were within our first 50 episodes. Do you remember the number that you were on by chance?
You've done so many.
It's true. Do you know how many we're up to now?
I want to say like 260.
Almost 253 is just about where we're at.
I think that's amazing.
Thank you, buddy. What number do you think that you were, though, way back in the day?
Well, I wasn't 50, so I probably was a solid 34.
34. You were actually number 37. Number 37.
That's close.
So if you're curious, audience, about watching the first episode, episode that Marc was on for the Just Start podcast, if you head over to jacquelinenbaker.com/037, Avoiding the Big Entrepreneurial Mistakes, Marc was on that. And it was a great episode. But it was before, of course, we elevated to this video format in the studio, and we get the opportunity to spend some time together here.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we spent a lot of time, as you know, honey, on the podcast talking about starting and making sure that people have the space and the resources and the tools to truly start the things that they want to do. Mm-hmm. But today we get a chance to talk about a different kind of starting that's actually stopping. All right. So since you were on the first podcast episode, you had a really big life shift. And you know what? You tell us, what's been your big life shift since the first time you were on the podcast to now? Big change.
Well, the biggest thing is that about 2.5 years ago, I fully retired. And I didn't retire and start working again. I'm like totally retired. And so with that, you know, I mean, it comes with some changes.
It does come with some changes, yeah. Back then, so that episode was probably released in either late 2020, maybe 2021-ish, somewhere around there. And you retired just 2 years ago, so that was 2024 at the end that you retired? 2023-ish, somewhere around there.
Yeah, more like 23-ish.
Okay. Did you think, or did you even have retirement on your mind back then? Like, was it like, oh, within the next 3 years? Were you thinking in that way?
Oh, yeah, I definitely was. You know, the funny thing is, 50 was a big year for me. Mm-hmm. And so that was almost 3 years ago. And the whole time I kept thinking, like right around 48, I started doing the numbers and preparing myself, trying to see what exactly retirement was going to look like. Now, I actually didn't plan to retire at 50, was going to retire at 52. But so I was actually like 4 years looking at what needs to happen. Just what is my lifestyle and what kind of things or bills I could knock out in order to make my lifestyle a lot easier and simplistic.
Yeah, so thinking about that stuff back then, essentially.
Yes.
Let's go back just a little bit more, though, because, you know, we've been together for a long time. And, of course, we've talked about retirement in some shape, form, or fashion before. But I can't remember if when you were 45, when you were 40, when you were 35, we didn't talk about 50 as a retirement number. We just didn't, right? Mm-hmm. So even back then, was 50 or somewhere around 50 or 52, 53 your time? Or were you thinking even that far back? Yeah, somewhere around early 50s, I'm going to retire. Had you forecasted in that way?
Yes. According to my job, as long as I had 25 years on, I could retire. So 25 years, I would have been 47. So I was thinking, so not too soon after 47, I would be making a move if the numbers made sense.
Okay. I'm sure some of our audience is thinking, what? Like 25 years from when you first started. But the way that you started your job was significantly early, right? Like you started counting like sort of fresh out of college, right?
Right. Actually, while I was in college, did a student co-op with them. And then once I graduated, they hired me on. So I took off running.
Okay. All right. So you had this privilege of going straight into your career from college. Yes.
Yep.
You had this clear number of, at 25 years in, I can retire. And a few years before you retire, you start thinking like, hey, what's the runway of things that needs to happen in addition to retirement savings? But what's the runway of things that need to happen in order for this to be accomplished by 50, 52, 53, et cetera? So you had those things going for you. But some things that I know most of the answers to these, but I would love to know in more specificity, and I'm sure our audience would as well. So you spent nearly 3 decades, right, in a government career, right?
Right.
What did you have to believe about yourself in order to make the decision to retire at 50? And what I especially mean by that is knowing that it might not make sense to everyone else. So what did you have to believe about yourself in order to say, you know what, 50's it for me?
Well, I had to believe I could do it, and I had to have sort of a plan. And so, I thought about it real carefully, and I thought about, okay, how do I kind of want my life to be? And it's not a hard picture, but just kind of like, well, I kind of want this. I want to be able to do this. I want to travel. I don't want to have to get another job. But if something comes up that I like to do, then I could do it. But if nothing comes up, I need to know I can still survive, And then a part of me was like, invest heavily into your wife because you may need her in the future.
You may need her. You might. Yeah. I know. Right?
Nah, I'm joking.
But what did you really mean?
No, man. And so yeah, I guess I didn't really think about the only outside person I really needed to make sure that was cool was a Jacqueline and Baker. I didn't pay attention to the rest of the outside world because everybody has a lane and everybody's situation is different. So, people say, oh man, you retired young. But if your situation was like my situation, you would have retired too. So, and after a while, it just made sense. Me going to work, I was only making $200 more. So it was like, I can give them $200 and don't have to work no more. So
yeah. I think the fascinating thing about your situation and what is often situations and conversations that I'm a part of by being in the Just Start space is these big transition decisions that people have to make, and a lot of times being mindful of the outside noise, right? Which is what we were just talking about. Like in your case, you're like, look, I decided this for myself, and my wife, me, I had to be on board or, wanted to have some consensus into what was going on. So, that makes it sort of easy. But with a lot of other people, they are fighting all these other voices and perspectives and opinions and things. And so a part of my question was, partially rooted in that, but to be more specific with it, right? And this is actually, I'll say this, because I had a front row seat at this journey of yours, I personally witnessed people asking questions over and over again around but what's next? But what's next? But what's next? Almost to the point of you can't possibly not work, right? And so that makes me want to ask you this very specific question, right? How did you let go of that pressure, right? Or even began to craft the words around answering the question, so no, what's really next after retiring? Like, how did you deal with that question? And in the beginning, did you have the words for it?
Well, let me take it back and how it really went down. All right. I mentioned before, I didn't even plan to retire to 52. So I turned 50, but I've been working on the number since 48,
Was it really 48? Like, had you never worked?
Actually, it probably was like 47 when I can really officially be retired. I probably started at around 47 to start, putting in numbers and seeing like if I stay this long, this how much I'm gonna make. If I stay this longer, I can make this much more.
Yeah.
And I was really trying to work to see when I can go. But the main reason I left, once I got comfortable, like, okay, at 50, I can, I don't have to work. I got a phone call and somebody offered me a job.
Marc has never told this story publicly, my friends.
And they offered me way more than what I was making. And, it's funny because I listen to myself now, but if I had told this story to my 40-year-old self or even 35-year-old self, I would have probably said, man, you tripping. But, I got this offer, make a lot more money, doing the same work as a contractor. And so, I'm like, well, I did the numbers. I can walk away. I'll be all right if this doesn't work out. But there's opportunity to make more money. And, I always thought that was the plan. Retire kind of early, get another job, and make more money.
Why where did that idea of doing that even get implanted in your mind?
It's from being from Detroit. And you constantly trying to get paper. You know what I mean? And actually, anybody especially that was in my time, if you didn't have 2 or 3 things going on, we kind of looked at you like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, bum. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you ain't have a side hustle going, then you wouldn't even really worth being in our circle. And so, yeah, it's crazy. And so that's why I said if I told myself this, I'd have been like, yo, you tripping. But, so I took the job. And one thing I realized is that, I always thought I was working because I'm trying to get paper, trying to get paid. But in actuality, I was just working to survive. And I mean, the surviving part, I didn't really understand that until when I didn't have to work no more. And so, my job was cool. It was never nothing that I had a passion for, but it made good money. And so then they offered me more money on top of that. And then, I worked for about a month and a half and realized, man, I don't have to work. And I don't like these people. And, I'd rather peace of mind than keep grinding and trying to make more money and dealing with headaches. And then I started realizing, like, outside of work, I don't really like these people at all. So I was just kind of like, you know what? I think I'm all right on this, man. I don't want my retirement to be surrounded by people that think they can influence my situation. And then it's always a constant battle at work. I mean, office politics. And then, once you start in a new job, you the low man on the totem pole. And they don't know nothing about your background. They just know that they've been there longer and how they do things. And so, when you don't have to work, your tolerance goes down a lot, and then that's when I realized, like, all the bull I used to put up with was because I needed to survive. And now I can survive without that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like my story.
Really, how it all really truly went down.
And then after that situation, I realized I didn't want to work no more for nobody.
Yeah.
You know, if I did anything, it'd be for
you.
myself. Right?
Yeah. It's a couple things that I want to dig into. Number one is it is interesting for your 50th, right? We had a really big birthday celebration for you, which can you believe that was like 3 years ago?
Right.
We had 88 people to come celebrate with you in Mexico, which was fantastic. And little did we know, like that very next year, like you would be officially retiring. Was it late? Maybe even later that year. It was later that year. We went to Mexico in July, and literally 2 months later, I mean, we probably could have
November.
we could have had a surprise retirement, right? Just a few months if we had that information. But really, I wanted to drill in on intention, because in you ejecting yourself from that contract situation, right, and not really embracing the idea of having more contracts, there's a level of intention there. It's just like, I could make more money, but like, I'm just intentional about, I'm at peace. I'm doing the hobbies that I love, which we'll talk about in a short while. I still have community, right? There's just a level of intention there. But I recall towards the end of your career, we all work with people that get on our nerves, get underneath our skin. I was really adamant with you around, like, don't let this one person be the person that's just like, oh, screw this, I'm out of here, right? Because I firmly believe that people deserve to retire in a way that they want to, right? To leave in a way that they truly want to. And it breaks my heart now, especially what's been going on with the government over the past few years, that people are like forced out. It's like, man, people like you have spent 27, 28 years somewhere, and then all of a sudden it's like, get out of here. Like, man, that feels unfair, right? And so for you in the end, although yes, there was another opportunity that you went after from a contract standpoint, do you feel like you left for real on your own terms? The terms were just like, yeah, this is how I want to live. This is how I want to leave. This is how I want to roll out.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. Because, I mean, I could have stayed and try to bear it out and deal with it, but why, man? Life is short, man. And then, as you start getting to this age, and then you start looking on Facebook, and then you start seeing your peers passing, and be like, do I just want to work and die? And then you save up all this money from your 401k and other investments, and you don't never get to spend it. So it's just like, hey, man, it's been a good run, but now it's time to blow some of this.
Not blow some. Spend with intention, perhaps.
Right. but yeah, so. But no, I do feel like I did it on my own. So.
Yeah, well, good. I mean, that's truly was one of my biggest wishes for you, and I kept pushing, like, honey, don't let Katie from accounting piss you off, and then say I'm out of here. Like, you can't give her that much power.
Yeah, you gave me that about 2 years talking.
Yeah.
But I left because of an opportunity, but I was good. So, I mean, I think I pretty much did it the way I want to do it.
Okay. All right. So people ask me a question a lot, and I think you get the exact same question. And because I'm working, like I still, work and travel and do lots of things. And people ask me about you all the time when I'm out somewhere. How's Mark? What's he doing? Is he still enjoying retirement? What's he doing with his time? And I feel like you get a similar question, like, what are you doing with your time, right? Are you bored yet, etc. And tell us, what is the answer that you give people when they ask you, like, what you doing, Mark? What you doing with your time? Are you bored? How are you answering that these days?
Well, somebody asked me that question. I said, what am I doing? I'm like, whatever I want to do. There is no set schedule. There is no, I got to do this every single day. Mm-hmm. I pretty much golf, boating. I'm trying to get a boat, so keep your fingers crossed if I can make that happen.
Godspeed, y'all.
But I'm in a boating club right now, and then, man, we travel, and then I'm constantly going back home anytime my mother needs something. So I be feeling like I ain't got enough time in the day.
You left off a few things. You left off snowboarding.
Oh yeah.
You left off your whiskey and cigars, which is a regular part of your life as well.
Oh yeah, shout out to Ash and Barrel, man. Okay. My bourbon cigar group, man. Some really good dudes in that, and we meet like once a week, and so it's they solid. And when people say, "Am I bored?" I mean, I just don't get that question, because it's like, are you ever bored on vacation? Like, I think the only people that are bored are people that made their job their life. Like, the only friends they got are work friends. Everything they do, they think about their job about it, like how, if I do this, how does that implement my job? Or can I do this because of my job? I gotta work, so I can't do this. But, my job was always just a job. It was never my life. So my same friends that I hang out with after work, they still my friends. And I still hang out when they get off work. Mm-hmm. The only difference is my 8 to 4:30, which was my job time, and I didn't have to work no overtime. Or it'd be longer if I when I got to work overtime. But nah, man. I mean, I won't get bored. Like, we got a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. And my friends they do dope stuff, so we always out kicking it. So yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I think your answer is interesting is because in the Just Start world, we talk to a lot of people that are trying to figure out their next, or trying to figure out how to start something. And many times they are in situations where they have made their life all about their work, and sometimes by accident, right? It's just like either maybe all your friends moved away, or maybe you got married, had kids, and all you had time for was just these 3 things: marriage, kids, and work. And like, that's it, right? And so, you sit in a bit of privilege, intentional privilege, right? That you had the opportunity to have your job, but then also like be intentional with like, no, I got my friends and I still hang out with these friends, etc. Mm-hmm. But for you, as it relates to hobbies and these things that you've incorporated in your life, have you always been a hobby guy, or was there just a period in time when you were like, wait a minute, like I've been working, and now I need to make sure I have some hobbies? Or have you always had an equal balance of hobbies and work?
No, that's an interesting question. Mm-hmm. In Detroit,
yeah,
I did.
Okay.
Like, in Detroit, man, I was part of a golf league. We rode mountain bikes. Shout out to Jim Dandy Ski Club. Mm-hmm.
The oldest black ski club in the country.
Yeah. I bowled. So, but when I moved to D.C. back in, 2012, yeah. The grind was so hard. I had a new position, and the work was understaffed. Mm-hmm. So it was constant work. So,
and a new position in a new space, because you were doing digital forensics.
Right. And so the only hobby I had time for was happy hour. And so,
is happy hour technically a hobby?
In DC it is. It's very much a thing, man. And since I worked in DC and my friends work in DC, the train can take you everywhere. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we would just link up after work or whatever, who's ever having the happening happy hour. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I lost track of hobbies. And then, once I retired and had a little more time, and then I got back into it. So yeah, so the summer's coming up. Mm-hmm. Excited to get back into golf. And I'm excited to get on the water. Mm-hmm.
So in Detroit, you felt like hobbies were always a part of your life and always have been, like from as far back as you can remember?
Yeah.
Okay. And you truly feel like the reason why your hobbies fell off here is because work cannibalized your time?
Work in this area, you're not able to shoot nowhere fast. Mm-hmm. Like, everything was downtown. I mean, in downtown DC,
Because that's what we knew.
And it was close,
Yeah.
though. You know, like, I don't have enough time to get off work and then try to make it to a golf course in that DC traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, or any other hobby that I would like to do, it just, once you get off, and I never knew when I was going to get off work. It was, depending on the situation and whatever the work is, it could go to 7, 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just the job didn't make it easy for me to have hobbies.
Yeah.
But hobbies are extremely important, though.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, you don't have the constant 8 to 4:30 to get up and get out. So, it helps you to still get up and get out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, just in reflection of us and the way that we've operated over the past 22 years, which is actually crazy now. I have always been impressed by your ability to do 3 things. I don't think that any of these are a secret to you. Number 1 is hobbies, right? Like, I want to do this, or I'm doing this thing. 2 is friends. I think that we've done a good job of having separate friendships, having friendships together, right? Even friends becoming friends. Like, Mark blames me, y'all, for stealing his friends, and it's not true because he be stealing my friends out here, all right? So, friends, but then also community, right? And so, I want to stick on that community piece for just a second.
Okay.
And it is, if I think about your hobbies, if I think about bowling, I think about Ash and Barrel, your cigar and whiskey brotherhood community. If I think about snowboarding, even if I think about boating, right? I will say all of those are in many ways rooted in community. There are things that you do in community with other people.
Correct.
Right? Okay?
Yeah.
And and just, even if we think about your 50th birthday party, which was big in Mexico, your retirement party, which brought out, hundreds of people, that's always something that people say about you, and they're impressed and enamored about your ability to have community, to re-spark community, to bring people together. But tell me, where does that come from for you? And let me first tell you why I'm asking, right? One of the recommendations that I often make to people who are trying to start something is find community. Like, find somebody that is trying to do what you're doing, that's maybe 2 steps ahead of where you're at, so you don't feel alone, right? Like, I'm always trying to have accountability group, something, right, to keep me going when I'm down, because community in many cases makes things easier. It makes you feel not so alone. And so I'm always looking for recommendations and resources for our audience to think about as they are starting stuff, and thinking about, how do I not feel alone in this overall? So whether it's somebody that might be thinking, I want to start a photography business, or they're thinking, I actually am ready to retire, but I'm nervous about it because I don't want to be alone. Maybe they made their whole job like their life. So tell me a little bit about community for you. And has community, for as long as you can remember as an adult, has it always been important to you?
Yeah. Well, with that question, I think we got to go back to my childhood.
Okay.
And
you went back way further than I thought you were going to go, by the way.
Yeah, we got to go way back. And, the one thing is, I'm my only child. And so I was forced to get out there and make friends in my neighborhood.
Forced, or did they want to be friends with you? Did they come over?
No, get out there and play. Go
outside.
Yeah. And so then, and then also being the only child, my mother trying to just give me exposure.
Yeah.
So she put me in a whole bunch of different programs, and just so I could have exposure to them.
Yeah.
And that just kind of helped build that community. With so many different programs, I was able to almost fit into any type of situation. I never probably was the best at something, but I could be enough to where people want me on their team.
Okay.
And so I think that's where it came from, and then just becoming an outgoing person. So, and you just kind of crave to be around people, like-minded people, and it just spiraled like that.
Yeah. So ever since the child, you have been deep in or rooted in community, and it's just kept going throughout your entire life, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Has there ever been a time you can think back over, let's say 5 decades now, since you're above 50 but not 60 yet, where you craved community and it wasn't there?
No.
Okay.
Because I haven't never craved it.
Because it's always there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, just got lucky.
Yeah. Sometimes it's luck and sometimes it's intention. Childhood, all right, your mom, you, intention. You were on a football team in high school. There's a level of community there. You went to Michigan. Right?
Shout out to Southwestern Prospectors.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
I set myself up for that. Right. You went to Michigan, right? Go Blue, of course, I'll say it for you. You have a huge group of friends still from Michigan, so there's community there. You have on your Lions gear, so you got into season tickets with Lions fans. You co-founded promotion company, one of the first promotion companies in Detroit for young professionals, Peerless Productions, community there. So it sounds like, the point I'm making is it feels not like luck as much as it feels like there's a lot of intention all up in there, or things that you spearheaded.
Yeah. Lucky intention, man. To me, all this there's always going to be some luck in it, man.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't always go to plan. And sometimes things come that you didn't even consider that helped out. I won't discredit luck.
Yeah. I appreciate that, right? Because you're right. I do think that sometimes we do take credit for things we're just like, yeah, that just sort of kind of happened. Or I don't even know how that happened, but it happened and I reaped the benefit from it. Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about specificity as it relates to luck?
Yes, let's talk.
What has been a lucky break that you've gotten over your career or even personal life that you're just like, man, I don't really know how that came together, but I got lucky and it benefited me?
Man,
I sort of kind of got one for you.
I think, well, man, really my biggest community and probably what got me out the most was, and if you go back to episode 37, you can hear me talk about Peerless Productions, man. That was the promotion group that threw parties, and the way that blew up, it was just 5 guys who wanted to throw a party, and it just turned into something special, man. And it was a good timing because there was really nothing for young professionals. So it just that was definitely some good luck. And then I would even say my cyber cafe, Beans and Bites, the brainchild was Delano, who I met in college. And, he luckily asked me to be part of it. And we're friends, so, it's not that surprising, but still, there's a lot of other people you could have asked about that. I even think sometimes in my job in D.C., I was, when I got offered a position, I was like, oh, man, I think I must have really impressed them in the interview. Then I started hearing, man, nobody wanted to come to D.C. I didn't even know how much it cost to live out here. I was just like, Chocolate City, sign me up.
We did a little research.
I don't know, man. Not the way it's hitting, not the way that rent hit compared to my mortgage. So, I consider that being some luck. That was good timing too. So, just the timing is luck, man. I think all of that just plays a part into it.
Yeah. I think one luck that you didn't say that we talk about is the DC community that we have here.
Oh yeah.
You know, man, a big value that we share in our relationship is community, and how, you know, in Detroit, we one phone call away from calling anybody about anything. And when you move across the country, it's like, ooh, are we going to have that?
Right.
And heck, in the first 6 months, it was almost like you had a whole nother friend squad here.
Yeah, and at this time, I need to give a shout out to Tanae Redmond and Irish Strong, who both put me down. Once they inducted me into the crew, I became money. And so I started meeting a bunch of people, and, you know, it just all flow well. But those two were the start of it.
Yeah.
Of my DC.
You're at your threshold for shout outs. You know that you're at the capacity for shout outs. You know that?
I think I still got a couple more.
How many more do you have?
I don't know yet.
I'm just gonna say
I'm gonna figure it out.
1, 2.
By the time we go.
Let me ask you this: how do, in the vein of, you know, you have a lot of autonomy now, right, to decide what you choose to do, what you don't choose to do, but you also got a lot of life left, right? Like 50, especially in the eyes of your mom, who says that everybody's young, even if they're 102, right? Yeah, a lot of life left. How do you keep learning? How do you keep trying new things? Like, what is either your process or the way in which you continue to learn, acquire new knowledge, acquire just new things overall?
Well, I mean, basically it's got to be something I have to have an interest in, or somebody turns me on to a certain thing, and then I do it. Or if there's some things that I've like, man, I've always wanted to do that, then, you know, I'll try it. But it just really it's all organic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm also thinking about, if I do get a house in the Dominican, I'm going to learn Spanish.
What are we
So,
about? What?
I'm just trying to, so then I'll be learning Spanish. But the thing right now, I'm trying to get my boat game together. So that's probably the most learning that I'm trying to do. But I mean,
Trying to get your boat knowledge up.
Yeah.
Do they call you Captain Mark?
Captain Cool Mark.
Do they? Who are these people?
Everybody that rides with me. I'm the captain. So yeah, man. Check out my Facebook if you want to see
it. Okay. All right. So I'm curious about what's next, right? You've shared with our audience where you've been, some of the stops that you've made. You've shared with them some of the hobbies that you've given yourself permission to try. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, because every time we talk about this, what's next, there's something else on your list, like, oh yeah, it is too, right? So what do you feel like is next for you, if there is a next?
Right now,
mm-hmm.
I'm retired, so what's next is whatever I think of. Like, you know, there's nothing concrete right now. Just, man, enjoying this life, man, and not being stressed.
Yeah.
So, and just, what's next? Me dropping some weight. I'm going to try to get a little light on my feet. Get back to my high school playing days.
Oh,
you
wow.
know what I'm saying? That's what's next.
You know you're saying this to the people. Like, they're going to hold you accountable. Because the Just Start community be holding people accountable. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Feel free to...
They're going to be in your box.
To get in my Facebook or Instagram.
I don't know about that.
CoolMark91.
I don't know about that.
You want to know? Like and subscribe. You know.
No, not pew, pew, pew. Listen, I must say that every chance that I get, I say to people how proud I am of you for retiring in an intentional way with time, energy, and desire to do and explore different things. Like, I haven't personally, as you know this, I haven't had the pleasure of being close to someone family-wise who has had an intentional retirement plan. and who has retired with other things on the docket that they wanted to achieve and do. And so I've been very proud of you in doing that, retiring in a way that you wanted to, and still having hobbies on the table that you wanted to pursue and that you're doing. And so to the world, I just wanted to say that I'm proud of you, but I always talk to you, I've told you that before. If there is someone who's thinking, you know what, I could retire, or I'm starting to think about retiring, but I'm making a bunch of excuses, but this, but that, but they financially set themselves up to retire, they are capable of doing it, but they're fearful, right? Because while you have overcome the, well, man, what about this, or what about that, and ain't you gonna be bored, and your wife gonna be working and traveling the world, like what you gonna do? What advice?
I'm gonna go with her. What else I'm gonna do? If you travel, I travel. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What's Mark doing? He at the hotel.
Right.
Right. But what advice would you give somebody who's in that place of they're trying to just start thinking about their second chapter or third chapter in life, but perhaps they've just been in this space of work is their life for so long? What advice would you give people that are thinking about that just start journey?
Well, I would say if your money is good, but you may not be a social person, you know. Mm-hmm. So really, and this is gonna sound crazy, but if your job is your life and that's what keep you going, maybe you shouldn't retire. You know. The guy who mentored me at my job was pretty much a homebody. I mean, he never took trips. He just worked. He'd be like, yeah, I was 2:00 in the morning working, like constantly work. And, you know, he retired. And, you know, he'd be the first one to tell you, oh, I got to work because I'll be bored, you know, and got crazy money, house paid off, but he's not a community person. Like, you know, I know his one friend that he talks about, don't really talk about making new friends, don't do any traveling, you know, a couple family members, but he needs to work.
And perhaps that is a value of his.
And so you know, if you're like that, then work. You know, I mean, you can retire if you want to, but find another job. Yeah. Like and some people work or being in that situation is what they like. Yeah. So I mean, if that's what you like, then do it. But if you ain't got no hobbies or if there's some hobbies you want to try, then you know this is the perfect time to go try them. But it could be lonely, you know. So I would say have a plan, you know.
Yeah, you know, I've heard that a lot. That before you retire, think about what you're going to be doing when you retire versus like, let me just do this and then figure it out on the other side. Because then there's some people, maybe like your boss, who are just like, wait a minute, like I liked it over there and I didn't have anything else that I was going towards. And so now I feel lost. And so perhaps that thought process around like, just what are you going to be doing on the other side of it could be smart. And I've heard that from a couple of people that I have did work with that retired and then got contractor jobs because they were like, I needed something to do. Yeah. I mean, it ain't for me, but I could see that because, like, you know, once your money is good, like a lot of people I know that went back to work had to go back. You know, I mean, whatever lifestyle they decided for themselves, their retirement couldn't support it. Yeah. And so they had to go back. But and if you don't got to go back, but again, everybody ain't outgoing. So or everybody doesn't have. Everybody has different desires. Yeah. You know.
I mean, some people just want to die with a bunch of money.
They do.
So
and it's their choice.
It is their choice.
It's their choice.
You know?
But there are some people that legit want to try different things, and it's just this thought process of, but how do I do that, right?
Yeah.
And how do I even start to think differently overall?
Well, I mean, we got this big thing called the internet with so much knowledge on any subject you can even think of. So, if there's something that you want to try, maybe start trying it before you actually fully retire.
Yeah.
And you can get your feet wet a little bit with it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much
it,
man.
I do love that. That concept of just give it a try. Like while you're working, what other hobbies can you just pick up here and there just to even start dabbling in it? And you're right. Like it's so many different ways for you to get involved in so many different things just to even just test to see, do I like it? Yeah. And that can plant the seed for what you want to do perhaps when you've taken this other big leap in your life.
Yeah, but I could see it's not for the faint of heart though. Like you definitely need to kind of figure some stuff out before you make the move. But when you financially set yourself up, you don't have to be in a rush to figure it out. You can take your time. So yeah. Well,
Mark, listen, I appreciate this conversation. In my mind and in my intention for this conversation was to give our audience a different perspective in starting, because so many times we're talking to people that are trying to or have visions of starting a new business, right? Or starting this side hustle. And this one was rooted a little bit different. It's rooted almost in potentially stopping something, but still maybe give yourself permission to dabble in different things as you explore what your chapter is after your former career. And so I thank you for coming on yet again to the Just Start Get Visible podcast. And who knows, maybe you'll come back again.
I'm not hard to find, Jacqueline. So whenever you need me, I will be here.
Will you?
But I will also say that I'm extremely proud of you.
Oh my goodness.
And how dedicated you have been to this podcast. Anytime somebody talks about podcasts, I always tell them, my wife got like over 200 episodes, so.
To over 250.
250 episodes. And I'm extremely proud of you, and I try to promote it every chance I get.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for you. I mean, literally, remember this podcast started with, hey, I think I'm going to start a podcast. Yep. I'm going to get some equipment. Then it turned into, Troy, can you do a live episode? He's probably thinking, girl, what? And now we're doing these pretty much every month here in the podcast studio. And so Thank you. I appreciate your support as always.
Continue being awesome.
Thanks, buddy. Listen, it has been wonderful spending time with you all yet again. And I'm so grateful that Marc agreed to join us here on the podcast. I know that this episode was a little bit different, but it was all rooted in intention because I wanted to have a really honest conversation with one of my favorite people about this really huge transition that he made over the past 3 years. Number one, because I like to talk to him, but also because I knew that our conversation today would inspire someone out there to start or stop the things that they truly want to do or maybe don't want to do anymore. And so listen, wherever you're at in the world, I hope that you're safe, I hope that you're healthy, and I hope that you're well. And I certainly hope that you're giving yourself permission to start or stop the things that you truly want to do. So with that, you take care of yourself, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao.